I'm thinking about you and your violin. You know, it's such a lovely, low tech, simple, beautiful instrument. Um, is
It's
that?
not very low tech, actually.
Oh, really?
I have
That's
to say.
you can tell
No,
I don't play it.
it's not very low tech. It's
Uh-huh.
very high tech,
Yeah.
and I wish it was just a simple fiddle,
Mm.
but um, I, d- I'm I like what it can do. So
Yeah.
so certain things, I'm not somebody who's gonna like move off into the backwoods and you know just live the life of 4 generations ago.
Uh-huh.
I want to try to make this time and place uh, work, and
Yeah.
um, yeah, even the words I'm using, I really don't like. Like work. I mean, it should be make this time and place more playful.
Mm.
So
Mm.
anyway,
Mm.
um,
Yeah.
that instrument is about translating the things that you, as a musician, hear when you're a violinist. Your head is next to the instrument. You're hearing all these overtones and scratchy things and harmonics, and by the time it gets to the audience, it's pure sort of mid-range with vibrato and none of the funky stuff that is
Mm.
and
Mm.
so I like to bring that stuff up off the noise floor and make it audible and part of the music.
Mm.
So
Mm.
um, these little uh, so even with just the limited palette of a solo violin,
Mm.
you can get an eerie sort of um, purple kind of clouds moving around the notes that are really sort of fascinating. So that's kind of what I'm trying to do with that instrument.
Mm, mm. And is there anything kind of symbolic for you about the violin or string instruments, or is it just that that happened to be the instrument that you learnt as a child?
I suppose it becomes symbolic in that it becomes your other voice, or
Mm,
the voice that um, uh, can cry, can
mm,
be, I can be the straight man to that
mm,
more emotional way of telling the story. So
mm,
it's a way to, it becomes let's say, kind of symbol of, or way you use to tell another part of the story.
mm, mm, mm. And as you're talking about like stories, like you're a storyteller, a musician, a performance artist, a visual artist. Do you like all those categories to coexist, or would you like people to look at you, in one genre?
Oh, I don't care.
Yeah,
I really don't. I don't really define things that way when I'm making them
yeah,
because, and I don't care about what category I'm put in.
yeah.
So, for example, Delusion started as some plays, and then it became a kind of movie, and then it became a piece of music, and then it went back into kind of this weird hybrid of stories and images
Yeah,
and sound.
yeah.
But that was not what I thought it would be at the beginning.
Mm,
You just start making stuff, and I have no idea what it's going to be. I actually really don't.
mm,
Could turn out to be a piece of music, or could be just some images, or it could be a little bit of a mixture.
mm, mm. Wonderful. And what are your plans for 2011? Will you be bringing Delusion to Ireland, hopefully? Any plans to bring it
Oh,
here? I think that would be
I
fantastic.
don't know. I would love to do that.
Mm,
I would love to do that. There is a little spring tour of that, but mostly this year I'm writing some new stuff and doing kind of using the some of those violin filters as jumping off place to write more um, short little songs, and I make a little collection of those.
mm,
And I'm doing a book just a plain old book
Oh,
of
great.
collected stories from throughout the last 30 years. And
Oh,
it's funny
fantastic.
because those stories were made as multimedia things, and I didn't even particularly write them down. They would just say them. And so they were parts of things that had visual stuff. And now they're just going to go onto the page, and so we'll see what happens.
Oh,
They
great.
may be awful, but
Yeah, yeah, and they're mostly non-fiction, aren't they? Your stories.
yeah, they are. And also, I'm doing some sort of three-dimensional movie kind of installations with a lot of images so that you can kind of walk through a story. And so in Rio in March, I'll do the first version of that. It's a little story that has. I'm not sure how it's going to work. We'll see. It's an experiment.
Right. Wonderful, wonderful. And how about for the dog concerts? Are you planning any more dog concerts?
No,
Oh, too
no.
bad.
I mean, a lot of people say, "Could we have a dog concert here?" And I was so afraid I'm going to be the dog music person. I said, something you should just do once. That's funny. Somebody else wants to do music. I think it's an interesting field, interspecies concerts.
Incredible.
Birds and dogs and
Yeah.
turtles. So,
Yeah.
It's funny. In the first week of February, I'm going to a university in Atlanta, Georgia, and I'm going to work on this very weird project. They probably just had the strangest grant proposal ever. The project is I stand around for 3 days and play violin for fish.
What?
There are all these fish swimming around in an aquarium, and I try to in music express the way they're moving. How do they move? And then they play this music to blind people so that they will appreciate the motion of fish. Now, don't you wish you were on that grants committee and you read that proposal and went, "Yes, this looks great."
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know what kind of endowment they got.
Brilliant. That's fantastic. It'd be quite interesting to have a kind of a brain scan, wouldn't it, of the dog while they're listening to the music to see if it reacts.
It would. But you know that even when you pet a dog, hormonally, you're exchanging, beatitude, really, because you're generating the same kind of feeling in your dog as your dog is in you. And it's very osmotic. And so I feel the same with music. I mean, it's such a physical thing, and dogs have such exquisite hearing. And I know they appreciate the emotion of music as well. I mean, my dog can just listen to things, first of all, because she's a studio dog, his master's voice dog. She's listened to thousands of hours of music, thousands and thousands and thousands of hours. And then also of my voice kind of going, la, 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 la. So and looping, and it must be odd for her. But she's...
lucky dog.
Well, she sits in the studio and the ears are always, trying to catch stuff. And I watch them kind of respond to certain frequencies. And I know she's having a really good time. She's kind of transfixed, sitting there going, "Let's hear that song for the 5,000th time. I can't wait." She's a perfect studio rat.
Right. Yeah. A brilliant first audience of all your stuff, is she?
Yeah. Very, very tolerant.
Brilliant. And I'm just thinking, you were here for the Leonard Cohen tribute concert.
Yes. Right.
How was that? That was the last time you were here, I think. Was it? Or
it was, yeah. That was a dream, because just hearing those songs go through so many different interpretations was fascinating, because you can ultimately, I think Leonard Cohen songs are best sung by Leonard Cohen. but this was second best.
Yeah.
And it was lovely and fascinating to hear people's interpretations of them. So I had a very good time.
Yeah, and a great celebration of him, of Leonard. He's been here a few times since, actually.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah. So we'll have to talk to Lachlan Deegan, who runs a theatre festival, and suggested he brings Delusion
Put in a good
over.
word for me.
Yeah, it would be an honor.
When is that festival?
It's in October. And I mean, because obviously, like the piece is so relevant to Ireland, I think,
Yeah, it is. I would love to do that. I really would.
We're going to play. We'll play this back to him.
Hello, just call me. I'll be there.
Brilliant. Oh, that would be great. So we'll pass it on to him. So are you touring much this year, Laurie? Are you going to be spending a bit more time at home around America?
A little bit more time in New York this year, just doing a lot of new things and experimenting.
Great.
So it's wonderful, yeah, and some touring as well.
Oh, fantastic! And I read something about a walking tour. Is there a project you're doing that is a walking?
That was a few years ago. I might get back to that.
Right.
We'll see. But the last one I did was along in southern England. It was a really beautiful walk along the top of the Ridgeway, and it goes from the south up to Oxford, and a beautiful. It's kind of like walking on the spine of a dinosaur. It was the route that you would take to take your sheep to market. So you're walking on top of the ridge so that you can look down on either way, see if anybody's coming to steal your sheep. So it's a really gorgeous walk.
Wow. And did you bring people along with you, or did you film it, or did you go on a walk?
I had asked Brian Eno to recommend a place, and he said the Ridgeway, and I said great, and he said, well, maybe I'll come along. It sounds like a lot of fun. So he came as well. I mean, we just walked and talked for days. It was a dream.
Wow, brilliant. Well, Ireland would be a good place to do something like that.
I've always wanted to do that. Maybe I'll do that. What's a good place? What would you suggest?
Well, I love the west of Ireland, County Clare, Donegal. It's really fantastic on the cliffs and everything. Do you know what part your mother was from?
No, trail went cold.
Pardon?
The trail went kind of cold. We have to find out.
Oh, yeah. Well, Ireland is pretty small. My dad says you could walk around the whole thing in a few days, so...
Okay, walk around looking for familiar faces.
Yeah.
I'll give that a shot.
Yeah. Brilliant.